Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to all of you for today's session. I'm sorry, student, for joining a bit late. Actually, I was very hungry, so I had to take some food. So I got late in managing all that, actually. I'm sorry, you had to wait around 10 minutes. Now, so students, we are discussing auditor and internal controls. Internal control. We ended our lecture where we discussed a few things regarding control objectives and control procedures, right? We discussed a few things. Now, students, our topic for today is auditor and internal controls of client. So sorry, I'm sorry. I think my iPad is not connected. Just a minute. Auditor and internal controls of the client. This is the topic, basically. So auditor and internal control. What auditor has to do regarding internal control of company? The point is, first of all, auditor understands the controls of company, client. Then document the control system. One, two, three. Perform walkthrough test. 4. Perform test of controls. Performs test of controls. So 4 things are there. Yes. So auditor, 4-step process it is. Auditor and controls of company. Auditor understands the control of client, document the control system, performs walkthrough test, and then performs test of controls. Now, performs test of control, but whether controls are effective or not. Now, my question from you here, a question arises that why auditor tests the controls of client? Why auditor tests the controls of clients when auditor has to report on financial statement of the company? Yes. Just a minute, please. When auditor has to test the controls of company, then auditor has to report on financial statement of company. Why auditor is testing the controls? Anyone, any idea? Okay, good. Students, we know that Now listen, we know that controls are implemented by management of company to achieve financial statement objectives. Controls are implemented by management of company yes. So students, the point is auditor comes to company and understands whether controls of company seem to be working or not. Control, this is done at planning stage of audit. This is done at planning stage of audit. Auditor, yes, understands. Now, on the basis of it, auditor decides to decide audit approach, that how to audit. What will be the long-term direction of audits? What will be the long-term direction of audits? Now, so two possibilities are there. Seem to be working, seem not to be working. Two possibilities are there. After assessment, if seem to be if seem not to be working, what will be the audit approach? Detailed substantive test to be performed on financial statements. Yes. When control doesn't appear to be working, so why to waste time in testing the controls? Second, seem to be working. Okay. Perform test of controls. Test those controls. Now, two possibilities are there. Controls prove to be effective. Controls prove to be weak or ineffective. So when ineffective, then more chances of errors misstatements in financial statements. Less chances because controls are working well, things must be recording correctly in financial statements. Now, in that case, where more chances, so detailed substantive test will be performed by auditor on financial statements. Here, less detailed substantive test required on financial statements. Less detailed. Less detailed substantive test required. Now, so students, what are the substantive tests, by the way? Substantive tests are the explanation of this word. Test or procedure. They are the ways, methods, practical techniques used by auditor to detect misstatement in financial statements. Now, I'll repeat. I will repeat. First of all, auditor has to decide audit approach. Two audit approaches are there. He will go for two audit approaches. Are there. One is detailed substantive test. Second approach, test of controls plus substantive test. Both. An auditor decides this on which basis? Multiple factors. We will discuss those factors when we will discuss audit planning. Right now, just know there are two approaches. So at planning stage, auditor assesses, understands that whether controls seem to be working or not. If they seem to be working or seem not to be working, then approach will be decided upon that. If seem not to be working, direct detailed substantive test. Because control are not working, there is a risk of, yes. So what does it mean? The meaning is that high risk of misstatement in financial statements, because controls didn't work, so more chances of errors and mistakes. So hence, detailed substantive tests. Extensive audit work on financial statement is required. Now, next point. Controls seem to be working. Now we have to verify they are actually working or not. Perform test of control with substantive. Now, if control proved to be weak, actually, initially they seem to be working, but now they prove to be, no, they were weak actually. Our impression was wrong. So more chances of errors, misstatements, so detailed substantive test. And here, is it clear so far? Tell me. Is it clear? So why auditor test the controls? To decide, yes. First of all, why auditor is interested with controls? Why auditor is interested in controls of company? Two things. Number one, to decide audit approach. Audit approach. Which approach I have to use? Second, you see here controls decided that based on control we decided detailed substantive work on financial statement. Detailed substantive work on financial statements. Less detailed substantive tests. So in other words, second auditor is to decide or to determine the amount of work to be performed on financial statement. Work means substantive test. That how much substantive test I need to perform on the financial statement. And how I will determine? Through controls I will decide it. Now, next. I hope it is clear so far. Now you can answer the question. Why auditor is interested in control? How it is decided that how much work to be performed on financial statement. You can answer the both questions now. Okay, tell me one thing. How many of you have solved the test? Tell me. By the way, I can open the admin portal. I can see who has done it. 3%. 4. Okay. Yes, please. How many? What about the remaining? Why they haven't done it yet? You are not loyal to your own FH, audit and assurance paper? Why you have not done so far? Yes, please. This was the first test. That's why I give some relaxation. Yes. So you should get idea. You have seen the answer as well. Have you seen? Yes. I will discuss that in the class, the full test. Okay. I will discuss the test in the class. But the point is, I want everyone to do this, solve it. This is not the way. It should be. This laziness is not acceptable in FH, audit and assurance. Yes. Now, next. The other people who have not done it, I'm telling you, test 1 is done. Quiz 1. And what I am doing, I will be trying my best that every 3 weeks there should be a quiz to cover whatever we have done. And this is quiz, I'm telling. I'm not telling about the test. Test or assignment will be different. I'm telling you in advance. That is additional. If you want to pass audit and assurance in the first attempt, you have to go through it. This extensive drilling. There is no shortcut. There is no shortcut. Fill this poll, please. It is anonymous. I just want to see how many of you all right. Thank you. Okay, everyone agreed. Good. So the next point is, so students, for this all process of testing the control, this, so we will be talking about this section. Yes. So 4 steps are there. Auditor understands the controls of company, document the control, performs walkthrough tests, and performs test of controls. So 4 steps, one by one, we will be talking about that. Come to the notes. So I have talked about it already done. So components of control system. Components. What is meant by components? Basically, it is auditor is understanding these components of company. The first step, which I told you, out of 4. So in any company, there are 5 components of control. Control environment, risk assessment, information system, control activity, and monitoring. Who has to implement these systems? Company, client. It is their responsibility to implement these 5 components of control well. They have to implement. Auditor comes and understands that how well these components have been implemented. Understands that how well these have been implemented. Yes. Now, so one by one. So first, control environment. What is control environment? Control environment is that factors which are surrounding under which controls are working. Under which controls are working. Now, I repeat my words. Control environment is those factors under which control operates, under the influence of which. If they are favorable factors, control work well. If they are unfavorable factors, it is just like the weather, the conditions for the plantation, just like that. Conditions are good, plants grow, right? Well, otherwise they don't. So control environment is the framework under which control operates. And who actually control environment is? Who sets the control environment? Management, directors, senior management, their policies. The first one is if the management is very much committed to the integrity, ethical values, having ethical values, and they communicate a lot on it, their staff will be more careful. Their staff will be more careful. So communication and enforcement of integrity and ethical values. Integrity and ethical values. So students, how well they communicate, how much they communicate. If they communicate a lot, environment will be good. Commitment to competence, this and HR policies, both are relevant, linked. When you hire people, when you promote people, when you assign job, what is your priority? On which basis you do? You see their skills, competence, ethical consideration, and on which basis you promote people, how you reward people, how you compensate. So all these are affecting the control environment. If you are doing it by the favoritism, you are not considering these things, control environment will be weak, or vice versa. Now, the next is management philosophy and operating style. How important are the control for company management? How important is the accounting, transaction, and the recording for the management? How important is the control? How much they give? What importance they give? And how they manage? What is their attitude towards risk faced by the business? If the casual attitude, poor attitude, ultimately control environment will be weak, or vice versa. How the business is structured, hierarchy, these two are linked. From top to bottom, how business is, how chain of command moves, how departmentation works, how well work is defined and assigned. Now, so organizational structure and yes, how the work is planned, controlled, monitored, how authority is delegated, authority and responsibility both within the company. If you have authority but no responsibility, or responsibility but not authority, things will not go well within the company. In other words, how the jobs are properly defined, structured, planned, yes, in the company. Or everything is a mess. Is a mess over there. Now, so students, participation by those charged with governance, directors of the company. What is their experience? How much they involve in the operation? How much they monitor? How much supervision they provide? How much they use auditors for controls? Yes, they are monitoring managers. They should not have any relationship to ensure appropriate environment over there. Independence. Student, this is control environment. This is control environment. These are elements of control environment. And these are the explanation. So you have to memorize these and they have to grasp. Need not to memorize. Rather, you can write in your own words. So we have discussed what it is, what control environment is. Now, what auditor will do about it? Because we know auditor is getting understanding of the controls. What auditor will do about it? Control environment is the company's framework under which control operates. And that framework is affected by all these factors. Now, what auditor will do? Auditor will assess whether these elements of control have been implemented or not. How auditor will assess? By asking from the management. Go and observe business. Inspect record of the company. So two components. So two aspects have been discussed about this component. 1 and 2. Is it clear so far? Are you able to understand it? Tell me. Are you able to understand it? What I am explaining? Now, next. Let us proceed further. Second, entities risk assessment process. Risk assessment process. Every good company, I'm telling you, they have risk assessment process through which they do 4 things. 1, they identify any new business risk arising to the financial reporting objectives. Any new risks arising. Second, evaluate the significance of the risk. How significant the risks are. Severity. In other words, magnitude. Impact. Company has process to identify that. Assess the likelihood, probability of occurrence. Okay, the risk occur, impact will be huge on financial statements. What is the chance of occurrence? 1% or 20%. And then, fourth, you assess the likelihood, significance as well. Now, how to deal with that? How to address those risks? How to address those? Now, so students, what is risk assessment process? What auditor will do? Yes, auditor will obtain understanding. Whether they have a process, company has. If company has a process, understand the process. If not, discuss with management how you are managing the risk. Now, the third step, third component, information system relevant to financial reporting. Students, when the transaction initiation, purchase requisition is formed. One requisition, when you have to purchase something, then get approval of requisition, then sent to the purchase department. So at every stage, whether it is being initiated, where it is being processed, its record is being made in the form of purchase requisition, in the form of purchase order, in the form of purchase invoice, in the form of goods received note. So the company has a system of control which has the process and the procedures for all initiate, record, process, transactions, whatever happens in the company. You sell some asset, you purchase some asset, so that assets, liabilities are secure. We can establish, the company can establish the responsibility. Who has moved this asset? Who has increased liability? Who has made this expense? For example, auditor shall obtain understanding of how, now this is what it is. What auditor will do? How entity communicates roles and responsibilities regarding financial reporting. Now, let us proceed further. Control activities. Now, what are control activities? Specific steps that, okay, you will authorize, you will produce a document, you will sign it, you will give money, you will receive goods. Specific activities, specific policies to ensure objectives are achieved. For example, authorization. For example, recalculation. Note down, it is missing here. I will prepare invoice. This person will review. Now, the next point is performance reviews are done of the people, of the company employees. Information, not everyone process the transaction. Not everyone do everything in the system. There are controls, limited access. Physical access is not everyone enter the cash department. Not everyone enter the inventory, the stores for inventory. Limited access is limited. Segregation of duties. What is it? Segregation of duties is that where one transaction is broken down into independent parts so that one full transaction is not performed by one person. It's called segregation of duties. Now, listen, please. For example, we say purchase requisition will be generated by a stores department. Purchase order will be placed by purchase department. Payment will be made by accounts. Check will be provided by them. So one purchase transaction is broken down. Cashier will not have access to the accounts. HR department and payroll department will be two different. HR will set up employees and payroll will maintain the record of payroll to avoid fraudulent payment. This is called segregation of duties. Segregation of duties. So now what it is? These are activities. Auditor shall obtain understanding. How they have been in control activities are being implemented. Yes. Let us proceed further. The next is monitoring of control. Monitoring of controls. Company has implemented controls. So company themselves monitor so that controls are improved to ensure people are following. If control become weak, people find loophole, so control should be improved. Now, company have to do that. Auditor shall obtain understanding of how entity is monitoring the control over financial statement and how corrective actions are taken for controlled deficiencies. Now, so friends, we have covered understanding of control. Now, the next point is limitations of controls. Limitations of controls. First of all, cost benefit. Controls have cost. When you implement controls, they have cost. So benefits derived from control should not be less than cost. Cost should not be higher. Potential of human error. We implemented a control. They have given me a key and I noted down that key, and it was placed on my screen when I was doing team meeting. I shared the screen and mistakenly it was shown to everyone. Error. So key has been seen by everyone. Now, next. Collusion between employees. What is collusion? Collusion means when employees join each other for fraud. When employees join each other, I said cashier and accountant should be two different persons. So that cashier has cash, accountant should update account. But if they both decide, cashier say, I will steal money, we will share, you update accounts fraudulently. The purpose is gone, control. If management is not following the control, no one will follow. And controls are designed for foreseeable circumstances, foreseeable transactions, which we can foresee right now. What happens? fraudsters, they find some loopholes, unusual way to enter and the system and to do a fraud. So students, yes, it is done. So limitation of control is done. The next is recording the controls. Recording the controls. Now I am auditor. I understand the control of company. Now I record with myself. The second is recording of controls. Recording of control. This can be done by 4 ways. One is narrative notes. Second is flow charts. Who is recording the control? Auditor is recording the control. Checklist. And the fourth is questionnaire. Questionnaires. 4 ways to record. Narrative notes, what they are? Narration in the form of story. That I understood the control, how control are working. I say, okay, purchase department prepared the purchase acquisition. They check the available stock, fill the purchase requisition, which is reviewed by the store manager who signs it and then send it to the purchase department, which places order with the purchase supplier. Story. But in the between doing the same, I say, okay, but the purchase department is not checking the prices in the market. So might be purchasing at higher prices. So I'm commenting on the negative aspect as well. So narrative notes, storytelling, come to the notes. So narrative notes. So what do I do? Explain the system and criticism as well. Criticism as well. Now, next. So, students, narrative notes, the advantages of recording controls in narrative notes. Simple to record, can be used for any system, flexible way, storytelling. And if you type these narrative notes, can be edited easily. Typed content can be edited easily. Describing in narrative notes is time consuming as compared to charting. When you chart, flow charts. If written manually, they are awkward to update. It can be difficult to identify. Yes. Control exception means weaknesses in control. Because you are reading story, difficult to identify. Sometimes you are lost in the story, you are drowned in the story, but you are unable to identify which control is weak here. You are unable to figure out. Now, flow charts, charting. Starting from here, going there, approval there, you see charts. Input, process, output, everything. So what you can do, You can have the bigger picture. You can trace the transaction easily. You can identify loose ends. Loose ends means which area is weak, which control is weak here, which one is not properly designed. Bigger picture you can see from start to end, but it has some drawbacks as well. Yes. So easy to follow. System is recorded in entirety from beginning to end. You can trace, and loose end mean exception, weakness. That okay, here is a problem. For example, here is a problem. It should be approved from here as well. For example, now, yes, you can easily highlight deficiencies as compared to narrative notes. For standardized system which follow a standard flow, it is wonderful. But if there are some unusual transactions which are not standardized processes, for example, they say normally sales direct manager give approval of everything. But in exceptional circumstances, we have to contact sales director as well, finance director as well. Then you have to write additional things in the along with here. That for example, here we will write in narrative notes that exceptional circumstance in narrative notes as well. So this is drawback. Unusual transaction. Major amendment is difficult without read write. Next. The next point is time can be wasted by charting. Yes. Unimportant areas, those areas of control which are not relevant to financial statements. Yes, very easy. Now the next is questionnaires. Oh, sorry, checklist. Checklist. What is checklist? Checklist is that like this. I say for auditor prepare a list. For example, purchase requisition is sequentially pre-numbered. Purchase order is authorized. Goods are checked for quality. I have made this list. Now I go to the company, I ask them. It is first point is there. Purchase requisition? Yes. Okay. It is not there? No. It is there? Yes. This is checklist. The way to record controls. So checklist is given. Now, and the next is questionnaires. Come here. Students, let us take a 5 minutes break. After break, we will be discussing it. Okay. So 5 minutes break. We'll be back in 5 minutes. So the topic is questionnaires. Questionnaires to record controls. Questionnaires are prepared by auditor and filled by client's staff. Auditor prepares the questionnaire regarding controls of company and circulate among the company's employees. They fill it, and these questionnaires are regarding controls of company. So questionnaires are of two types. One, they're called internal control questionnaire. The other are called internal control evaluation questionnaire. Internal control evaluation questionnaire. Now, so internal control questionnaire, ICQ, ICEQ. Auditor prepares two types of questionnaires. ICQ, internal control questionnaire. They ask the questions regarding specific controls exist or not. Exist means implemented. Whether they have been implemented or not. So students, and they ask questions regarding effectiveness of control. So their focus is objectives of controls are being achieved or not. Objectives. So let us proceed further. So internal control questionnaire ICQ example. जैसे specific control implemented, specific control exists or not. What is the example? The example is that purchase requisition is sent after checking inventory level in store. Specific. Yes. So its purpose specific task is being performed. So here example. Can purchase requisition be sent without checking inventory level? This is the difference between the both. Another example. Employees are the employees set up by HR department in company? Can employees be set up without HR department in company? Now you see here. They say, yes, employees are set up by HR, but still there is some chance it can be set up without them. Yes. Oh my God. This control is there, but still there is some room. Objective not being achieved. So now you see here, its answer. These are ICQs. ICQ. If answer is yes, control is working. Are the employees set up by HR? Yes. Very good. If answer is no, it is control exception, deficiency. Now, this is ICEQ. Can employee be set up without HR? If answer is yes, it is exception, weakness, deficiency in control. If answer is no, controls are effective. You see inverse of it. Tell me, the difference is clear to you people. Now, let us proceed further. Only one person responded. Why other people are on silent mode? Is it not clear? Tell me. ICQ, ICEQ. Is it clear or not? Please respond. So ICEQ has a wider scope. They talk about objectives. ICEQ talk about objectives. They talk about specific activity. Objective in different companies may be the same. For example, invent for example, attendance of employees. In one company, they mark manually. In other company, they swipe card. In third company, they scan thumb impression. So objective is that employees are worked for the paid for the work they're doing. Objective is this. In all companies, same objective, but typical activities are different in different companies. One company, they swipe card for attendance. Clock cards, they record. So students, that's why ICEQs, since they are designed in terms of objectives, they can be applied to different companies, more wider variety of systems. Now, so come to the notes. Sorry, here we are. ICEQ, you will read it yourself. Examples are also given. Yes. ICQs and ICQs, advantage and disadvantages. If drafted thoroughly, they can ensure all controls are considered. Okay, good. Quick to prepare, easy to use. Okay. Because they are drafted with objectives, ICQs are easier to apply to variety of systems than ICQs. ICQs, they are not, they are talking about specific controls. Now, next. The next point is, yes, ICEQ talk about objectives. It enables to understand whether controls are effective or not. They are achieving objectives or not. Whether auditor can rely on controls or not. And yes, key controls which can be tested during control testing. And through ICEQ, you can identify deficiencies as well. If controls are not meeting objectives, they are deficient. Extensive test, substantive. Student, these 3 points, these are clear? Tell me, these 3 points are clear? Very important to understand. Good. Now, the next point is, so disadvantage. Yes, maybe drafted vague, misunderstood. Yes, they may contain control which are irrelevant to financial statement. Yes, since they are drafted by auditor, you can draft question for foreseeable circumstances, usual, but unusual control you may not consider. A very good point. I will explain it. We are checking the controls on cash. There are, for example, 10 controls. Security guard is there, camera is there, cashier is there, and so on. But what happens? There is one control that at night cash is sometime with security guard, personal possession. Why in the personal possession? All control became useless. You are doing everything, but why personal possession? This one control, it nullified, cancelled the 10 other controls. But when we counting, okay, out of 10, only one control is weak. 90% controls are working. But 90%, what we have to do with it if this big weakness is there? Yes. If in measure one no answer will cancel out so many strings. It gives the impression that all are of equal weight. All controls are of equal weight. But we know that it is not the case. Some controls are much, much more important than others. Much more important than others. Way more important than others. Some controls. To which is not recognized by questionnaires. Now, the next point, the client may be able to overstate. Who is filling the control questionnaire? Company staff. They may giving the answer which are actually, they're telling lies, blunt lies. It is done. Now, student, we are starting sales cycle. Now, the next point is sales cycle. Students, I talked to you in the last class. Controls, control procedures, and control objectives. And control objectives. So the next point is, I have told you the difference and linkage between the both. Can anyone tell me whether control objectives are important or procedure? Which one is more important, objective or procedure? Think and tell me. Yes, because objectives have to be achieved. So students, who implements, who established the control objectives of company, of financial statement? Who has to achieve these objectives? Management. And management implement controls, internal controls, to achieve these objectives. To achieve these objectives. Come here. So we will be discussing different cycles. Third column, we will not be talking about it. So sale order. I have taken the example, an assumption of a foreseeable, the process of sale, that sale order is received, then goods are dispatched by the company, then sale invoice is issued, payment received and recorded. Yes. So first of all, control objectives as the sale order is received. The company has objective that we accept only that order for those goods which are in stock. We should not accept order for the goods which are not available. Otherwise, it will be problematic for us. Customer dissatisfaction. So sales officer must check the availability of stock before acceptance of order from customer. sales officer must check the availability of stock before acceptance of order. So students, you see here, objective. This procedure may vary from company to company. In one company, they say when customer places order, the system automatically rejects it. Okay, if goods are not available. Okay, right? So, students, objective may be same, but different companies may have different procedure in place. So, procedure must achieve objective. Remember, remember, this is the practical step to achieve that. Practical step to achieve that. Procedure, control. So, appropriate record of orders received. Appropriate record of orders received. This is the objective. So appropriate record, what does it mean? That all the details should be obtained from the customer. No detail should be missing. Orders should not be misplaced. Now, how to achieve it? How to achieve it? Order should be obtained on a standardized order form. Order form. An order should be sequentially pre-numbered so that if anyone is misplaced, it is identified. Yes. So, the next point. Credit sales to be made. Yes, customers are demanding credit sales. If we are selling them without any investigation, bad debts, and within the credit limits, if we are selling too much credit limit, giving, what will happen? I'm talking about company. Liquidity issue may arise. So company will do these two things for credit worthy. Perform credit checks for new customer. And obtain references. If customer wants credit goods, we say, okay, give reference. Who gives your guarantee that you will pay? They give name, we verify. Confirm. That may be bank, that may be their some client. So credit checks and credit limit should be defined by senior management of company, normally board. that how much credit is to be given. How much credit is to be given? That is defined by, yes, senior management of company. Now, next. The next point is goods are dispatched. Goods ordered. What the customer ordered? Carrots, onions should not be dispatched. Same quantity should be dispatched. So one person will be packing goods with the sale order copy. The other will be counter checking it. That the correct has been matched. Counter checking. And both should sign GDN. So this objective will be achieved by it. This linkage is very important, which I'm trying to emphasize again and again. Now, the next point is appropriate record of the goods dispatch. Yes, from the store's goods are going. Now there should be proper record. Otherwise, store department may themselves manipulate goods and they say we have sent to the customer, we don't have a record. Appropriate record. A multi-copied GDN must be issued at today. Normally, sale 4 copies are produced of GDN. 4 copies. One is at store, one is sent to customer, one to accounts, one to sale department. Normally 4 copies. Now, next point. Students, tell me, are you able to follow what I'm explaining? Tell me, is it clear what I'm saying? Tell me, please. Conceptual clarity. Yes. Okay, 4 copies. 1 copy is kept at the store by themselves. 1 is sent to the customer. 1 copy to the accounts department. 1 to the sales department. 4 copies. 1 with themselves, 1 to customer, 1 to accounts, and 1 to sales. Okay, welcome. Now, goods should be delivered to the right customer. Yes, objective. Mr. A goods should not be delivered to Mr. B. And of course, a proof that who has received the goods. That should be established. Otherwise, they may receive goods and they may deny. 2 objectives. How to achieve? GDN, copy of GDN. I said send to the customer along with the goods. Send to them. Who the person who is receiving should note down the name, sign that. and and keep that signed copy back with us. With us, customer sign and come to us, and we make that a part of company record. Next, the next point is invoice. Sales invoice should be issued for the goods dispatched. For the goods you have dispatched, you sent, sale invoice should be sent for those only. Accuracy of sale invoice. So one person will prepare and the other will review the sale invoice with the GDN, relevant GDN. And both of them should sign. Safety of cash or check received by post. Yes, very easy. That every post, everything that should be opened by 2% present at the same time. Yes. Now, appropriate record of cash received. Whenever you receive cash, whoever is paying, a multi-copied receipt must be issued in the name of that person, that party. Yes. So we are ignoring the third one right now, third column. We are doing the first two columns just. Now, the next is purchase system. But I'm going to take a 5 minutes break again because it is important to be fresh. Okay, so please refresh yourself, have some water and or walk. 5 minutes, we'll back. Now, the next is purchase system. So four steps I have envisioned. Purchase requisition is generated by stores department. Two objectives: avoid excessive stock and stock out as well. Two objectives. So for that purpose, we need to define reorder level to avoid stock out. Reorder level, you have studied in F2, that which order must be placed to avoid stock out. EOQ, economic order quantity. Again F2. It is a quantity for which the cost of inventory is the lowest. That must be defined and observed while preparing purchase requisition. Yes, appropriate record of purchase requisitions. Of course, what we have requested to the purchase department, the requisition is sent to the purchase department. We must have record of that. So purchase requisition must be pre-numbered and multi-copied properly. Yes. Pre-numbered and multi-copied. Now, the next is purchase. Yes, purchase order is placed by purchase department. You see segregation of duties. So purchase is at competitive prices. One company says, okay, how to achieve this objective? They say we will call the tenders, and we will place order with the lowest price, the supplier with the lowest price. Okay, good. The other company say no, we will maintain a authorized supplier list who are selling it cheaper in the market. An order which should be placed with them. Both are okay. Objective achievement. Appropriate record of purchase. Now purchase order has been sent. So 4 copies of this as well. You place order with supplier. 1 copy with yourself, purchase department. 1 copy to supplier. I repeat, 1 copy with purchase department, 1 with supplier. 1 to accounts department, and 1 to stores. I repeat, 4 copies. 1 with purchase department, 1 supplier, 1 accounts, 1 stores. But there is purpose of these copies. You will see. So purchase order should be sequentially pre-numbered and multi-copied. Sequentially pre-numbered, printed number on that. So that if it goes missing, it can be traceable. Next. So goods requested are ordered. Goods requested are ordered. What the purchase requisition received, that order should be placed for that. It should not be like that. Employees are adding goods by themselves from purchase department, buying makeup, beauty creams for their wives through the company expense. No, only those requested. So purchase order must be counter checked with purchase requisition. One person prepared, the other counter check. And that's why it should be authorized. Senior manager, approve. Review and approve that whether goods are being purchased for business purposes or not. Yes. Now, next point. Goods are received at store. When the customer deliver goods, they are received at store. Now, so what are the objectives? Ensure that goods ordered are accepted. What we ordered? So now purchase order copy is already at store, right? Compare when the goods are received, compare with that, what was ordered. Then accept it. Got the idea? Copy of purchase order, use, you see? Objective. Appropriate record of goods received. Now, whatever you are receiving, record. Sequentially pre-numbered GRN, 4 copies. 4 copies. Again, 1 sent to supplier. 1 sent to supplier, 1 kept at stores, 1 sent to accounts. Again, and 1 to purchase department, so that they can have idea of a goods received, order closed, order received. Now, the next point. So, the next point is payment to supplier. Yes, now here copy of at accounts. Payments for goods received and purchased only. Here those document will serve the purpose. Copy of purchase order which is received at accounts, and a copy of GRN. GRN from here. 2 copies. So accounts department person must match GRN, copy of purchase order, with invoice. Invoice with the customer. The supplier has sent the invoice. 3 documents. Invoice, what was ordered, what was received. 3 things. Match. And then payment voucher is signed. And then check is issued. Students, tell me, is it clear so far? Anyone, any question? Now, next. Good. The next is cash and bank. I will do it. Cash and bank. Control only valid. Now, cash and bank is to some extent related to the purchases and sales as well. Other expenses as well. So first of all, custody of cash and accounting record to different person to avoid or fraudulent payment. Only authorized staff can make electronic payment, right? And check and payment should be made when source document, payment vouchers with the long proofs. Then they have approved, then they should be prepared. And one more, this should come here as well. Again, it is written wrongly. It should be here. Cash payment should be approved by manager. Then it should be released. Approved. All cash payment and receipt and payment, they should be recorded. So daily cash payment, posting to payables daily and receivables, and then monthly bank reconciliation prepared and reviewed by a different person. They both sign. Bank reconciliation. Now, next, inventory is same as that of purchases and sale, because in purchase and sale is for inventory. You will read yourself. You will do it yourself. Now come to the payroll. And then, yes, target done. Payroll. Yeah, payment is done. Salaries, wages to bona fide. Bona fide means valid, genuine, authentic, not to the ghost employee. Now, next. So students, how to achieve it? HR and payroll, segregation of duties. If I explain it, only HR should set up new employee without involving payroll department. Without involvement of payroll. Next. So ghost employee cannot be added. So personal file for each employee. Personal file. Hamza is an employee. So Mr. Hamza, CV, and all the documentation. And any termination, hiring, etc., any change in employment status, that should be informed in HR. So ultimately, this will achieved. This objective will achieved. Without informing HR, no hiring, no firing, no promotion, no special leave, nothing should happen. Yes, bona fide payments. So activity report, use of time clock, use of attendance sheet, use of activity report, use of means anything to check, and yes, to record the time worked so that payments are made for the work done. Clock cards or overtime payments, they must be approved by supervisor, then should be paid. Overtime payment should be approved by supervisor, then should be paid. Valid employee number should be issued to employees, and only those employees should be paid. You see, these objectives are being achieved. Now, yes, all payroll costs are recorded. So pre-numbered clock cards, pre-numbered time sheets, pre-numbered activity reports, whatever you can say it. Different company, different name, different documents, different way of recording. Purpose is this. Payroll records. What is the employee detail in payroll and what is the cost recorded in financial statement? The both should be reconciled. Employees cost and payroll record reconcile. That the cost is recorded correctly for all employees, valid employees or not. Check and bank transfer list. This is the bank transfer list. Mr. A employee, Mr. B employee, Mr. C, D. This is the salary. This is the total amount. Bank transfer list. And then check is prepared. So compare these both amounts. Are same? One person prepare bank transfer list and check, other authorize. Two different persons. Segregation. To ensure this is the purpose. This is the purpose. Objective. All deductions, benefits corrected properly. So one person prepared the calculation, other must review it, and both should sign it. Both should sign it. Now, next. The next is revenue and capital expenditure. Revenue and capital expenditure. Capital expenditure. Revenue is that routine expenditures. Capital assets have to be purchased. Big investments. So that is not everyone is authorized to do that. First of all, requisition is prepared. And then requisition form should be different from that of routine requisition of goods. Authorization by the board normally. So properly authorized. Order should be authorized by senior management normally. Requisition different than the revenue transaction. And when invoice comes, the invoice should be approved by the person who authorized, same person, to establish responsibility. Each invoice, because it is capital item, each invoice should mention journal ledger code of assets. Yes, journal ledger. So to ensure all capital items are correctly recorded, all capital items should be written in the non-current asset register. And non-current asset register and journal ledger, they should be regularly reconciled. Non-current asset and journal ledger. Investigated. One more thing. Non-current asset register and assets present at company premises should be reconciled at least annually. Reconciled at least annually, and differences resolved, should be resolved. Another, you know that. To achieve it, non-current asset register, what is written here or what is physically present? Reconciled. To ensure the record is appropriate. To ensure the record is appropriate. I hope it is clear to you people. Anyone, any question? Good. So students, we have done today's task. Let me take you to to the this. You see here, we have done, this is 25th today, documentation. Yes, test of control is the next class task. So I have done next class task, 2 tasks as well today. So test of control, I'll be discussing in the next class. And then practice questions and practice and practice. And then we will have a grand test. But before this test, I will have a quiz, another quiz. Quiz 1, you must all have to solve during this week and start preparing for the next. And I'm telling you, I'm not going to spare you. Okay? Because I am preparing quiz myself. You know how hard it is to prepare question and mark the question? It is very hard to prepare. Okay? So do that. Do solve these quizzes. In the next, but I'm telling you in advance, from the next week, next quiz, I will be giving you 48 hours to solve the quiz, not more than that. I'm telling you in advance. And if you do not do it, it's your choice then. If you want to not to prepare. This laziness is only acceptable in case of the first quiz. Okay? Because some people joined late, they have not attended first lecture, they have not prepared, they were waiting for results, and so and so. I can understand, but not from the second lecture. It will not be acceptable. Okay? Thank you for joining me. We will be meeting next class. And I'm telling you in advance, most likely next class will be 3 hours full class. Today we have done 2.5 hours, but task is done more than the targets. Okay? Yes. So target is important. Okay. Goodbye. God bless you. Bye. Bye.